Homecoming week did not disappoint.
But it isn't over yet. We have a lot to show you from the past 5 days.
I'm Grace James.
And I'm Caleb Figures. Your news starts now. Here are the sights and sounds of homecoming, starting off with the banner painting.
To celebrate, the university has offered student organizations to compete in banner painting, as you can see right behind me. When asked to comment about the event, the student organizations chose to see it less as a competition and more as a bonding experience. Students took the opportunity to represent and spread awareness about their organizations, as well as building new relationships.
The University of Tennessee at Chattanooga hosted a day of service to kick off homecoming week. The Day of Service, hosted by Chimera Teasley, included a station where volunteers can make cards for children at Erlanger Children's Hospital and a station to make toiletry bags for the Chattanooga Women's Shelter and Chattanooga Community Kitchen.
The University of Tennessee at Chattanooga's Homecoming Week started on Monday, September 12th, and so did the events for students. The Student and Family Engagement offices have their work cut out for them to top each event as the week progresses and the homecoming game approaches. The school hosted a fun fair right here on Chamberlain Field for students to get free t-shirts, food, even stuffed animals, and they also had bouncy houses.
We had a great turnout for this year's lip sync competition where some of the registered student organizations tied this year's theme of Under the Sea into their performances. The event was hosted by Kirsten Stokes and Davon Hall at the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Auditorium. Only 3 lucky organizations got to take home a win. Sigma Kappa coming in first, followed by Chi Omega for second, and Alpha Delta Pi for third.
There wasn't much rain this week.
Let's see if the trend continues from our meteorologist, Chauncey Figures. Temperatures will stay cool this week, relatively speaking. Fall is here and we're looking at potential lows in the low 60s. On the other hand, we could see highs of up to 94 degrees with Chattanooga weather. It's a roll of dice. Weather conditions will be sunny all week after a week of rainstorms. It will be a nice change of pace. Caleb and Grace, back to you.
Enrollment numbers are in, and if it appears that you see more freshmen on campus than usual, you were not mistaken. The fall 2020 census data recorded an increase in 8.2% from last year, a number totaling to 2,229 full-time incoming freshmen at UTC.
Not only enrollment up in general for the freshman class, but the out-of-state enrollment for UTC is rising as well. The state of Georgia in particular has been a spiking 158% for incoming students at UTC, something that not happening over the past 5 years. In addition, the retention rate from freshmen to sophomores have increased dramatically. The growth of a 72% retention speaks to the record of any year prior to COVID-19. Last semester, one of Chattanooga's very own football player, Coach Strange, was a first pick in the first round of the NFL draft for the New England Patriots. Strange talked about his time here at UTC. Ryan Brooks had the story.
I must ask, how was your time at UTC? Pinpointing the time before you got drafted, was it all that you expected it to be?
I had a great time at UTC and I still remember it fondly. And I mean, it's still kind of call it home, I'm originally from a little bit up towards Knoxville, but I guess just kind of all of East Tennessee. But I love UTC. The one thing that aggravates me, and I've said this before, is we didn't win as much as I would have liked. I think still have. There's a bunch of really good players on the team. And it's been that way since I got there as a freshman. Every year we had really great ball players and we just weren't ever able to put together a winning season. And that bothered me quite a bit, but the people I met and the experiences I had were great. And I'm sure everybody, or maybe not everybody, but I'm sure most people probably say that about their school, but I'm right there with them. Whenever I was a freshman, I just started playing offensive line. I laughed because I'd never played the position before. I'd come in at like 250 pounds. And anyone who knows the first thing about trying to pass block someone else who weighs just a little bit less than that and who is more athletic than you, and you're trying to back up and block them, you already have a decent idea of how rough I had it for the first year or so. but it was kind of one of those things where I just, I don't know, I just believed, I was going to improve. I actually took what the coaches told me, the coaching staff, which, I'm sure every coaching staff across America probably says it, but it's because it needs to be said, and because I think that football players that take it to heart genuinely improve. Is that every day look at something you did wrong the previous day and try to improve that. And whenever I first started playing online, I had like one thing that I got right and everything else I needed to improve. You know what I mean? So I would have a day at practice. I'd have some good clips. I was always a high effort guy, so it was positive in that regard, but I'd mess up or have poor technique. And so I'd get upset. But then the next day coming down, I just repeat to myself, okay, this is what I need to work on. This is what I need to get better at. And, I just kept doing that.
Our Mocs football continued this week 2-0 with hopefully another win this weekend.
Chris Figures has the latest on the matchups happening this week.
It's homecoming week, and this week your 2-0 Chattanooga Mocs football team will be facing off against North Alabama this weekend at Finley Stadium. The Mocs are coming off a 38-20 win last weekend against Eastern Illinois. We will have coverage next week on Mocs News from the game. This week's high school football game of the week will be down here in Tennessee as the Boyd Buchanan Bucks will take on the Seahawks of Silverdale Academy. The Seahawks are 2-2 on the season and the Bucks are 4-0. This will be the 13th meeting between the two schools. Last year, Silverdale won in a nail-biter 33-29, but Boyd Buchanan leads the series between the schools. Week 3 of college football season is upon us, and we have a list of notable games. Number 12, BYU at number 25, Oregon. Number 22, Penn State at Auburn. Number 1, Georgia at South Carolina. And number 13, Miami at number 24, Texas A&M. And also, former Nebraska head coach Scott Frost has been released as the Cornhuskers head football coach after 5 seasons. The Mocs volleyball team took home a victory over the Asheville Bulldogs. This is the volleyball team's 4th win this season with a final score of 3-1 and an overall score of 5-6. The tightest match was at the beginning where the Mocs led with 25-23. The next home game will be on September 23rd against Furman, who are coming in hot with their last match result being a 3-0, making an overall season record 4-5. So don't miss it. Back to you, Caleb and Grace. Chris, thank you. That's this edition of Mocs News. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to keep up with us on our Facebook page.
We are also on Twitter and YouTube. Have a great weekend.